Hello, I am Tina Moscoro, and I am a recovering compulsive overeater by the grace of God from Singer, Louisiana. I want to thank all of you so much for allowing me to be here and to share my story. First of all, I would like to humbly ask God to help me to be an encouragement for all of us to continue to be strong in these times in which we live. Even though they are challenging and difficult, uncertain times, we can still have inner peace and assurance through the 12 steps and our higher power. I title my story, The Journey Out of Despair and Into Recovery. Here is a picture of me at my highest non-pregnant weight, which is around 250 pounds. And although I am smiling broadly, I can assure you I was not really, truly happy. The only reason, well, I shouldn't say the only reason, but the main reason I was kind of smiling broadly in that picture was because I had recently left my ex-husband, and I thought, wow, now my life's going to be great because I'm free from that oppression, that abusive relationship, and I can live my life in peace. That's what I thought, and I was so happy around that time. So let's see. Okay, my story goes like this. My past life was clouded with periods of anger, despair, pride, and a lot of self-hatred. I struggled with resentment toward others, and I blamed them for my lack of joy and my lack of fulfillment in life. I blamed my stoic dad, who was physically present in my life most all of my life. However, emotionally, he was never there for me. I also blame my abusive ex-husband for not giving me the unconditional love and acceptance that I felt I deserved. I also blame myself for being too lazy, too weak to overcome my voracious appetite. I was raised in the church, but I never felt good enough. I often felt shame, guilt, and very low self-esteem. I knew in my head that God loved me, but I struggled to be consistent in my devotion to Him. I found it impossible to completely trust Him with the areas that I battled the most. I felt as a Christian that I should be a better example. From a child, food was my comfort and my temporary pleasure. I turned to it because that's how I survived life at that time. I really didn't know a better way of doing things back then. For many years, I believed that I had to overcome my food addiction by my own willpower. I also felt that it was my fault that I was fat, but OA exposed these and many other lies in my life. All of those ideas that I had in the past were lies. They were not true. When I first came to OA, they suggested that I pray for willingness to give up the foods that I was addicted to. It was a very slow process. I was not ready to completely surrender those foods that I loved. I felt like I could not be happy without them. I couldn't live life without them. I was scared. I was scared because I didn't know what that would look like and how that would work. However, I kept coming to meetings, reading the literature, and I kept praying for willingness. And finally, finally, I became willing and I got to work on the 12 steps of recovery. I believe that OA is a spiritual program, and I believe it is based on the on inspired spiritual principles that actually work. In OA, there are no dues or fees for membership. The only requirement is a desire to stop eating compulsively. And I am so grateful for this program because it has brought me hope. It has removed my shame and guilt. It has set me on a path of freedom from compulsive eating, freedom from compulsive food thoughts that were just incessantly in my mind. And whenever I would go to gatherings, parties, holiday get-togethers, I never could enjoy the people or the moment, the fellowship, because always in the back of my mind, the food was calling to me, and it was just really, really torturous for many years. But OA has removed, God has removed the compulsion to constantly eat excessive food. He has removed all of those tormenting thoughts from my mind, and that is a total miracle. OA has helped me establish a life of service to God and service to others, to my fellows in OA and to my fellows in my local church and community. Before OA, I had lost and regained weight many times through various programs, various products. I have spent so much money on these things, wasted so much money on these things. The weight always came back because I failed to address the root problem, which was emotional, spiritual, and physical root problems and mental problems that I had in my life. But OA addresses these problems in a loving and accepting environment and manner. OA members understand my compulsions. They know about food addictions, and they do not condemn me. Today, I have peace with God, peace with myself, and peace with others. I have released 85 pounds while gaining practical tools to use when facing a challenge that would otherwise have sent me into a binge. God has done for me what I could never do for myself. I would encourage anyone on the call today to keep coming back. This program works if you work it, and you are worth it. Thank you again for allowing me to share my story, to be with you today. And with that, I pass.